Good morning, Anderson. This is Mayor Tom Broderick, and I'm with Building Commissioner Todd Fisher. We're out at the area of 14th and Arrow. Hope you're all doing well this morning. I'm going to take off this mask, Todd, if that's all right. Try to stand back a little bit. We're out here in front of what used to be known, several years ago, was known as the Anderson Police Substation out on the west side of town. And in more recent years, it was the Madison County Health Coalition. It's actually been closed down as well for probably 10 years, I would suppose. And so it's just been sitting here empty. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about the history of the building behind us and also a little bit what our plans are. But before I do that, I want to talk to Todd a little bit about our continuing efforts at our blight elimination. I think the last time, Todd, that you and I had a chance to talk, we were out at the off of Scatterfield taking down the old Mark Motor Inn, and we've gotten a lot of folks that were so happy that that happened. We might talk a little bit about that and where we're at on that now. I know it's pretty much done. But then I also want to talk about, I know last night, before the safety board, you took several properties before them, which has to go through that process of the safety board for approval before we can tear those down. But let's talk a little bit about that. You can go ahead if you want. If you think you can be heard, go ahead.
Yeah, we did bidded out 14 on the blight yesterday. So we're anxious to get those started and try to get them complete before winter.
We were talking before we went on camera here a moment ago, and we're hoping this year to get down 30 properties. I know in the past we've done a little better than that, but of course with COVID we got a little bit slowed down, but I'm really proud that we're moving that fast. How many do you have on the list that are approved for tear down right now?
Right now we have over 30 that are approved, so we're trying to get moving. Our contractors are trying to help us and keep moving, but we've got to work with their schedule. They have other jobs that they're doing besides our demos.
Sure, and I might talk about this contracting firm that we have here right today.
Yeah, Todd Davis, he's great. He helps us, you know, and every time we've been in a bind, he's came out and tried to help and be affordable. So he's excited. He's from here. They're as excited as me to try to get the town cleaned up.
And I was talking to Todd a while ago, and he was telling me really how great business has been for him, which is, of course, a good thing, but if that means they're spread thin. But I know he did help us on the Mark Motor Inn job and gave us a very fair price, and we talked about this before, but working in a partnership with the city, with him and the owners of that property, we were able to get that down.
Yes, and that was a great, you know, it took a minute, but it worked out for all of us, and I'm very proud of that.
Right. Now this, the properties that we have going up, now yesterday, for the board, and we got those extra 14 approved. Now that does have to go back to the state for some approvals too, right?
Yes, we have 14 that are already approved through the state that will be starting within the next week, and then these 14 will get approved and we'll finish them up.
Okay. Well, I know your involvement in this as building commissioner, you're involved in all the tear downs, but this really is also a joint effort of a lot of people, the City of Anderson, the building commissioner's office, and we're also working with community development and also with the Board of Works.
Yes, Board of Works has worked hard to get this done, and I'm just glad to see it. Once it's cleaned up, this will be all green space. It'll look much nicer.
And I know we have two of our Board of Works members standing around here, Dick Sims and Jack Kiesling, and I know our chairman, David Ike's going to be here in a couple of minutes, and they're shy, they don't want to come on camera. But now I want to talk a little bit about the building behind us. Again, we're at 14th and Arrow, and this years ago, back in the early 90s, during J. Mark Lawler's administration, Ron Ream was the chief of police at that time. And there was concern at that time that they wanted to make sure that the police were more spread out in the community to make sure that the public had access to them in the event of a situation. And so the decision was made to create a police substation. And so it was placed here, and it was manned by some folks who, again, were available throughout the primary hours when folks normally need officers, and they would dispatch people from here as well as have a place where they could meet with folks in the community and have discussions and so forth. That went on for 2 or 3 years, and then later on there was a change in chiefs, and there was some decisions made to change the use of the station. And Chief Ed Leonard came in around 1996, and when he came into office, he wanted to do more with the community policing. At that time, community policing was really more of a name than a program or an entity that meant a lot. So he did a lot to go ahead. I guess we're coming down now, aren't we? Hear it. So he did a lot to increase the members of manpower of community policing, and they moved community policing, and this was also in the time frame when they were planning the new police station. But before that got done, they went ahead and moved community policing out here, and they began to organize. They organized their block parties. They really wanted to be more of a problem-solving unit. And so members of the public could talk anything about down street lights to roads that needed pothole repair, whatever. They could reach out and the police could become a conduit for that information. And so it was very successful. One time they had a block party here had over 1,400 people right in this immediate area. So it was really a great program. And I know when we came back into office about 4.5, 5 years ago now, we tried to reboot some of that, and we tried to make our community crime watch and our community programs of policing more community oriented and go back into the neighborhoods. And that was moving really well. We got slowed down, of course, by COVID again, and we hope to get that picked back up again, even in a more solid way in the next few months. Later on, the community policing folks, when they built the brand new police station downtown, they moved back out there. That emptied out this building. The mayor at that time, Kevin Smith, decided there really wasn't a need for this particular unit, and so they shut it down. Later on, they went ahead and made an arrangement with Madison County Health Coalition, and they put in their facilities here, and then they operated the Health Coalition, which served the community as well. Later on, they left, and it's been empty. We were just talking about this. I think somewhere around 8 to 10 years, probably, is how long it's been empty. And so we started looking at what we could do to repurpose it. We came out and looked at it. It really was in bad shape, and you can see it's coming down probably fairly quickly. It was in bad shape, and so we just started looking around, and we were approached by 2 or 3 different entities here in town. And one of them that really made the most sense was Reverend Ray Wilkins. He approached us, and he has involvement with the Hyatt Food Pantry, and right now they're located out of the Impact Center, but they need a better location, more centralized location, and so we discussed making this property available to them. What's odd about it is this particular property sits on 3 different pieces of land owned by 3 different entities within the city. And so I've had my legal department working on getting that consolidated in order that we can get the title to these folks in order that they can start get the food pantry up and going. But as you know, the Mary Kay, I'm so sorry about that. The name of the food pantry.
Carrie Hyatt.
Say it.
Carrie Hyatt.
Yeah, Carrie Hyatt. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's named after a longtime community activist, Carrie May was, and so this food pantry is going to do a great thing to be able to serve the neighborhood that we're in and the community at large. And so we decided, rather than just give them this property in this state of affair, that we would go ahead and pay out of the Board of Works budget to tear down the property, to clean it up for them, to make it available, and then we'll be able to go ahead and start the food pantry process, get the title over to them, and Reverend Wilkins and his group can get going. Now, in speaking to Reverend Wilkins, I know he's really interested also in being able to make this part of a community center in addition to the Carrie May Food Pantry. So we are looking forward to this, and we're going to keep running here for a little bit. You guys can watch some of this get torn down, but we wanted to let you know what's going on out here. And again, Todd, I want to thank you and your crew for everything you guys do. I know you work hard, and you've been doing a great job. So thank you again, sir.
I appreciate it.
Take care, buddy. Thank you.